Hello, hello. Getting our lives ready. Don't you even think about it. Okay, let's check in here. Okay. All right, all right. Welcome, welcome. All right. Today. It's already been a crazy day, an amazing day. One of my nephews got graduated from kindergarten today. Had his kindergarten ceremony. Amazing. Um, we had us a little time. Okay, so I got my chats open so I can see everybody. Oh, oh, maybe I should have checked that before. Well, yeah, I was waiting too late. Okay, okay. Welcome, welcome. Okay, let me send the thing to let everybody know we online right now. Okay, okay. Um, okay, what should I don't know. What should I say? Oh, okay. We're live. Um, you know what? I'm just not gonna do that. They just gonna have to find me. I don't. I don't feel like being focused on that right now and trying to figure that out. It's see that stuff be way more than people think it is. Cause I'm like, I gotta think. I gotta put it in. Make sure I'm spelling everything right. I gotta make sure I'm posting it on the right stuff. I gotta find a picture because Instagram. And I'm not gonna do all that. So. So welcome to Sex Ed with Coach Catasha. I hope you had an amazing weekend of your own. We are supposed to have some bad weather here today, so I got my eyes on the thing. If y'all see me scooting up out of here and see a cloud of poop behind me, I'm gone. I'm gone. So hopefully, if you are in the Midwest area, that you are staying weather aware right now. I actually am not. Let me do that. I got Gardener's World on, and that is not gonna save my life. So let me just put a little radar up on the TV just to be sure. Okay, let me hold on. You know, and you gotta stay safe. I got to stay safe. You know, these kids need me. Okay, so my husband told me how to do this, right? I know that he did. Uh, I can't ask him again because I've asked him a whole bunch of times. I'll figure it out. Okay, let me go up to because we don't have an antenna in here. It's in there, and even if it was, I probably still wouldn't know how to use it. So it wouldn't make no difference it being in there because okay, which mm, that stuff don't look familiar. But you know what? This one, I don't know why, but it don't act like the other sticks that we have. So Ooh, don't do that. What is it doing? I'm about to mess something up. Uh, don't they have don't the let's look in here. I know it's one of these, and again we can't ask, so we're gonna have to figure it out. So what do I have? Ooh, oh, next week I'll be on vacation, so we will be streaming while I'm on vacation. It's gonna be fun. So hopefully all that time will be streaming beachside. That's what I'm hoping for. Um, and I got all my stuff in order. I got my house sitter. I need to go get them some snacks. I got all my stuff packed. Well, you know I've been packed. One thing about me, baby, I pack about 2 weeks early, because I need to. Oh, there it is. Oh, check me out. I found it by myself. Because I need a week to. Oh, it's not even downloaded on here, but that's okay. We're gonna download it. I need all the time. If I pack like right before, I'm guaranteed to leave something. But if I pack like if I open the bag out and put my clothes out a week before, I won't forget anything. Like because as I move throughout the week, I'll be like, oh, let me not forget to make sure I got my other deodorant in there because I bought a new one the last time and I'm not gonna remember. Or maybe make sure I got my mascara, or all those extra little things that you gotta like make sure that you take with you. Um, as the week goes on, I can remember all those things, and by the time I'm ready to go, I'm gone. And I get again, it's one bag. I bought a new bag. But it's still one bag. Everything going in one bag. Um, yes, that is my location. So I'm packed. Uh, your Uncle Bruce. We not throwing nobody under the bus. He's gonna be packed. He's gonna be ready, and we gonna be ready. Um, he said this time he ain't gonna be. He ain't gonna be. He gonna be ready. So well, it don't matter because we not wearing no clothes and doing nothing anyway. Okay, this don't say we have no weather today. This doesn't. I don't think we have anything. So are we good today? I haven't been online. I remember earlier they said we were gonna have some weather. So I'm hoping that we all right. Okay. We all gonna work together, okay? Um, cause I don't know like what channel I'm supposed to be in and stuff. But I figure like whatever channel I go in, there should be a little. Nope. Okay. Well, I guess we all right then. That's good to know, cause I did go and clean a little a pathway to the thingy if I need it. I'm gonna just leave it on just in case, cause we're gonna be here for a little bit. Today we're gonna be talking about endometriosis, and so this is a this is an important topic because statistically it takes about 7 to 10 years for someone to receive a endometriosis diagnosis, which when we go through what it is and like what it does to the body, you'll see why that is just a terrible timeline. Um, Endometriosis can be just can be detrimental to the health, to your physical and mental health, and just is an unnecessary burden that we don't want to have to take. Okay, so I think I found a news channel, one of our news channels. That's channel 9. I don't. Yeah, let's go. Let's go here. And see. Okay, we got a little bit of weather going on, but I don't see. Okay, we looking good. It is so humid out. I don't know where you are, but like it is. Oh, there are some storms coming this evening, I guess. Oh, if I turn the captions on. Oh, I didn't mean to change the channel. My bad. Hold on. We got to make sure. We're going to definitely do that. Hey, not too much. Now I was talking about sign in and do all that. Now you doing too much. Okay. Weather. Oh yeah, that was the weather last night. Okay, so definitely sending some energy to the residents of Arnett. We were looking at that last night, and I think it's like 400 people that live in Arnett, and three tornadoes hit Arnett last night. I mean yesterday. So um, definitely want to send some energy into that to that town and to those people. Uh, yeah, I hope I didn't see if there were any casualties, but I hope all the families are safe and that they said they don't have sirens there, and that the firefighters and the policemen, shout out to our first responders, were, see, they telling us to be prepared for the storm, to, um, that the firefighters were driving around with their sirens on and kind of alert everyone. So just, man, those little rural areas, they already don't have a lot of resources. So make sure you're staying weather aware today for sure. And just, we're in our season, so if you are living in Oklahoma or anywhere in this area, you know that um, going into June, it gets pretty rough. So keep that in mind. So today, we're talking about endometriosis. Um, let me. I got it open here. Close all this other stuff down that I don't need. Oh, let me plug you up too. It's the wrong cord. So, welcome to Mondays, which is our sex ed with Coach Catasha. Um, of course, this is just a little. This is a channel that we have going that is dedicated to teaching sexual health and sexual education. On Mondays, we specifically will be discussing things that have to do with sexual and reproductive health. And today, that topic is going to be endometriosis. Okay, so after this course today, or after we go through this class today, you are going to be able to understand the stages of endometriosis and differentiate the three types of endometriosis and name at least two or more risk factors for endometriosis. So what are we talking about this for? What's the reason why this is important? Let me make sure my chats are up. Can I pop that out? Yes. Thank you. Which I think they're both working here, but I'm not sure. So I don't really know how to do all this stuff yet. I'm working on it though. So what are we having this conversation for? 5 to 10% of people who of reproductive age between the age of 15 and 49 years old are affected by endometriosis. When you start looking at the data and you start drilling down into those numbers, so we have 5 to 10% of people of reproductive age are going to get endometriosis. And then when you start getting into the data, 50% of people who are experiencing infertility are affected by endometriosis. So that means that of the people who are having trouble conceiving, when you look at the numbers, 50% of those couples are going to have endometriosis as one of the culprits, right? So it's a lot more common when you start drilling into the data of how many and how broad the spectrum of endometriosis and the effects it can have really gets into. And so when you even drill down a little bit further, 50 to 80% of the people who experience pelvic pain are affected by endometriosis. So when you start getting into people who have specifically heavy bleeding or fibroids, or which fibroids is a different thing, but it is often accompanied by endometriosis as one of the factors. And when you start looking at that data of the people who have this particularly difficult periods, who lose a lot of blood, who have a lot of cramping, who feel like they cannot operate on the days that they are on their cycle, 50 to 80% of those people are going to be positive candidates for endometriosis. But again, endometriosis is so difficult to get a diagnosis for because it shares a lot of symptoms with other things, right? And so, and just, how difficult it is to be heard, how, the pain thresholds are assigned in different genders and how they are kept, and how a lot of those medical norms that plague the medical community, that has different ideas about people with different genders and different skin colors and all these things. There's all these different reasons why someone who is going into an appointment complaining of pelvic pain may receive different types of diagnoses before they actually get down to what the issue is. And in many cases, the issue is endometriosis. So what is endometriosis? Endometriosis is a chronic disease associated with severe life-impacting pain during periods, sexual intercourse, bowel movements, and or urination, chronic pelvic pain, abdominal bloating, nausea, fatigue, and sometimes depression, anxiety, and infertility. Endometriosis is a condition in which endometrial tissue grows outside of the uterus. So endometriosis is not just, a particularly rough period, right? Endometriosis is chronic, debilitating pain, and it comes in stages, of course, but it does not regress. So endometriosis, there are treatments for it, but there are no cures for endometriosis. They're not even particularly sure. They aren't sure how you can get it, but there are many different ways that it's transported, and sometimes those ways are not always understood by science. Let me get a little bit of water. It's Monday, so we're fasting today, and my arthritis is kicking my tail, so my shoulders and my rib cage and all that stuff is like tight with the changes in the weather and the barometric pressure. I'm telling you, man. I mean, this is something that we knew about getting old. Like, people did talk to us about this, but I didn't know it was supposed to happen right now. I didn't know it was going to start happening right now. I thought I had a little bit of time. Whew. So endometriosis is not just, oh, it's a painful period. You can have, if you're having symptoms where you feel pressure and pain when you pee, when you have bowel movements, we're talking about excessive bloating, you have nausea, and the mental effects. So depression and anxiety are not, physical manifestations of pain, but they are the mental manifestations of what endometriosis does to the body and does to the brain. So if you are experiencing pelvic pain and you have been gaslit and you're just like, people are like, oh, like that's just what's supposed to happen, or periods are hard. No, there is a way that your body is supposed to maneuver those situations, that your body is prepared to prepare the body for a baby. And if it is giving you excessive amounts of pain during parts of that process, during the sexual encounter parts of the process, during the menses part of the process, if any of that process, even just in the arousal part of the process, even in urination, those kind of issues, those kind of those kind of issues during your sexual encounters are markers to let you know that something may be wrong somewhere else. So even if you're having pain during your orgasms or pain during sex, that may be a a note or something that you need to take to your doctor to let them know, because it may be something bigger. It may be endometriosis. So there are three types of endometriosis. Your first one is going to be your superficial peritoneal endometriosis, and that's going to mean it's found mainly in your pelvic peritoneum, or in the pelvic area. So right in here where your uterus is, in that lining that goes in the uterus, deep inside the tissue, that's what you're going to see is for your SPE. Your second type is going to be your cystic ovarian endometrioma, and that's going to be found in the end and on the ovaries. So where you find the actual tissue buildup is going to be the type of endometriosis that you have. And then you have your deep infiltrating endometriosis, which is found in the rectovaginal septum, bladder, and bowel. And in rare cases, endometriosis can be found outside of the pelvis. Abdominal wall endometriosis, in some cases, endometrial tissue can grow on the abdominal wall, and the cells may attach to a surgical incision, like one from a C-section. So if you were to get a C-section and you had endometriosis and they cut that tissue open, when they pull the child through, just by cutting the tissue and exposing it, they could be moving some of that endometrial tissue to another part of the body, and you can actually get endometrial cells growing in that scar tissue. And so what the issue with endometrial tissue is that tissue is set to move and bleed every month, just like your period. And so if you have that tissue growing in areas outside of the uterus, it's still growing and trying to do what it's trying to do, but it's not in an area where that's conducive. And so if it's growing, say it's growing in the pelvis, if you have that tissue growing in the pelvis, then that blood is going to start to pool in those areas. That tissue is going to try to shed because that's what it's supposed to do. And if it's in somewhere else, it could cause inflammation, it could cause pain, all kinds of issues. The scarring, you can get cysts, and it can also lead to a buildup of fibrous tissues between the reproductive organs that causes them to kind of fuse or stick together. So think of it as like a creeping concrete that can move through. And because that tissue is growing in areas where it's not supposed to be, it can calcify, it can fuse the organs together, and it can cause pain during the time frame of the cycle, because the tissue is still trying to, do what it's supposed to do. So, I mean, we're talking about an excessive and debilitating pain. So think of having a bowl of concrete and something trying to come up in the middle of it, or trying to move to go through that. Like, that's not a conducive environment to that tissue, and so it is going to cause issues when that happens. And that tissue can grow, and it can move and switch through the body, and it can grow in other places that it's not supposed to grow, and it could cause a lot of different types of issues. Oh, I don't need that. Let me put that down. I need this. So what kind of symptoms are we looking at? Symptoms for endometriosis can include pain during or after sex. So you can get pain during the arousal process, you can get pain during the orgasm, or post-orgasm. If you are experiencing any of those type of symptoms, that might be a little note to make. Difficulty getting pregnant. If you have been attempting to get pregnant and you have been following your cycle, you've been tracking your basal temperature, you've been doing all the things that you're supposed to do, and you're still struggling with getting pregnant, it might be one of those issues where you need to look inward to see, what's going on with the reproductive organs. Oh yeah, we do have we have a real very high storm index today. Um, Yeesh. Yeah, it says very high. And then we got softball and baseball size hell. So, and it's before 2 p.m. Yeah. So just, if you are in Oklahoma, I think it's also like in parts of Texas and Kansas, make sure you're being weather aware today. Okay. All right. So, fatigue or low energy. And again, when you talk about these symptoms, because they share so many, um, some of the same symptoms with other conditions, it can make it more difficult for you to get this diagnosis. So the more of these symptoms you have, the better chance you have at going into your doctor and getting a diagnosis for this. So just keep in mind, you may not have all of them, but if I'm ringing off stuff and you're starting to get, okay, I got that, then, we'll talk about what to say and what to do in a little bit. Fatigue or low energy, spotting or bleeding between menstrual periods. Again, if you're seeing that, is something that should not be happening. Your menstrual cycle is your body preparing to make a baby, is to create an environment to make a baby. It should not be shedding that environment until it knows that it's not going to make a baby. And that is during your menstrual cycle. So if you are bleeding anywhere in between that, we definitely need to look at that. Chronic pelvic pain. If you are hurting in your pelvis, in deep, and that pain, if you're hurting in there and you are feeling that dull, deep, it feels like a boulder is just sitting in your pelvis, check that one off. Bloating or nausea. Trouble, with just feeling like you have to be bowled over during your cycle, or pain with urination or bowel movements specifically during your menstrual period. So if you notice that these symptoms kind of taper off after your periods, then then that's probably what's linking those two together. Now that doesn't always happen. Sometimes if that tissue spreads, it can spread to other parts of the body that don't have to do with that. Like it could spread to the bowels, it can spread to the intestines, and those type of things don't necessarily have to do with the period, but you will notice that the symptoms will get worse around the monthly cycle. Fatigue or low energy, I already have that one on there. And depression or anxiety. And again, we talk a lot about the physical symptoms of endometriosis, but the mental symptoms are as important, because again, depression or anxiety could have you making decisions about things that are not in the best interest. You're not taking in all the data for that. You're making that decision based on the frame of mind you're in, and that frame of mind could make you make some risky decisions, make you say fuck it all, and all those kind of things. And so being in that state of mind and having that, your body being wrecked by this condition, and then also your mind just deteriorating with not being able to get the help that you need, and this being so frequent, because we're talking about every 28 days pretty much that your body's being ran through the ringer with trying to survive another menstrual cycle. And it's hard. It's very hard. So what stages are we looking at? The American Society of Reproductive Medicine categorizes endometriosis severity in 4 separate stages. In stage 1, or minimal, there are very small implants, wounds, or lesions. They may be found on your organs or the tissue lining your pelvis or abdomen. There's little to no scar tissue on this one. Hold on. Okay. Stage 2, or mild. There are more implants than in stage 1. They're also deeper in the tissue, and implants is just the actual like scar tissue. They are also deeper in the tissue, and there may be some scar tissue. So the endometriosis, I wonder if we can look and see if we can find. Let's see if we can find what it looks like. Um, I got to see it, but once it looks like spider webs. um, let's see if we can find some images. Ultrasound. Oh, those are cysts. That says bowel endometriosis. Can we? Oh, let's see. Trigger warning if you feel weird about stuff. We're about to look at some insides on this research paper. Okay. Endometriosis on the left ovary. Is that this? Right ovary, left ovary. I'm wondering if that's what this is. Okay, let's keep looking. Oh, this says, yeah, deep endometriosis. B and C. Ooh, bowel nodule. Let's see if we can find some. Can I zoom that in? Will it let me? No. Okay. Ooh, I guess so. That is a nodule. That is one. There's one right there. Okay, let's close that down. Um, this one looks like a, ooh, yeah, that's a good one. Is it gonna show me? Do I have access to this paper? No. Oh, yeah, I do. Okay. Treatment. Where are the? Gosh, so this is the cyst. I'm assuming. Gosh. Yeah, that is huge. So to see that and to see that size, gosh, so you see that darkening right there. Man, so to see that, it lets you know that it's not a lot. Again, a lot of times people don't get the diagnosis they need because it's so difficult to get that diagnosis. It takes, again, about 10 years before someone can get it. Stage 3 or moderate, there are many deep implants. You may also have small cysts on one or both ovaries and thick bands of scar tissue called adhesions. So that scar tissue is the part that kind of looks like the concrete, and what like kind of melds and sticks together, sticks the reproductive organs together. And so when you get into this one, you're talking about like that bowled over um kind of pain. And then stage 4 or severe, you have many deep implants and thick adhesions. There are also large cysts on one or both ovaries. So you're talking about major um, tissue, scar tissue being developing inside of the body, and that is going to cause all kinds of issues, all an unimaginable amount of pain. Um, the stages, these stages are broke down. They're based on where the endometrial tissue occurs in the body, how far it's spread, and how much tissue is in those areas. Having a more advanced stage of endometriosis does not always mean you will have more severe symptoms or more pain. Some women with stage 4 endometriosis have few or no symptoms, while those with stage 1 can have severe symptoms. So it's just all about how your body reacts to the changes that are happening, the pain sensors that you have. And some people have higher pain sensors than others, but it just depends on how your body, that inflammation from that tissue, how your body reacts to those, that endometriosis growing and spreading throughout the area. So, risk factors. What are some things that could put you at a higher risk for endometriosis? You were very young when you got your first period. Okay, I don't know what the correlation of that is, but statistically, they show that people who get their period earlier were more likely to develop endometriosis later in life. Have a low BMI. So, if you are relatively small, if you have a very small frame, or have a small amount of body fat on your body, that could increase the risk of endometriosis. Having high estrogen levels, your hormones play a big factor in how your reproductive organs act. And so if you have higher estrogen levels, that could put you at a higher risk. You went through menopause at an older age. So if your periods didn't stop until what was the I want to say it was like 60s or something like that. If you're still bleeding, well into your older age, your silver age, that could be a risk factor for endometriosis. You have a close relative, a parent, sibling, or aunt with endometriosis. So, in many cases, there are some conditions that you will inherit from your family, and endometriosis can be one of those. You have short menstrual cycles, so a gap of less than 28 days between the start of one period and the next. So if you are a 21, 23 day person, that could be an issue. Have a health condition that stops blood from flowing normally during your period. So, if the blood, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, the blood being able to normally flow out of the body is also important because the blood can travel other places if it can't get outside of the body. Having heavy periods that last more than a week, and have never given birth. So those are some of the risk factors and some of the reasons that could put you at a higher risk for having endometriosis, but those risk factors by themselves don't necessarily mean that you have endometriosis. Again, we're looking at the risk factors and the culmination of the symptoms. So as many of the symptoms as you can rack up, plus some of these risk factors, could help you get a better view and get you closer to getting a diagnosis. So, what are the causes? There is currently no cure for endometriosis, but treatments are available for the symptoms and the problems that it can cause. So, how does the tissue get where it's going? One of the ways that it can move is by blood or lymph system transport. So, endometrial tissue is transported to other areas of the body through the blood or lymphatic systems, similar to the way cancer cells can spread through the body. So, the same way that your blood and the other things that move about in the body, your endometrial tissue can move about the same way and, cause the same kind of issues. Again, all of these are ways in which they are speculating. In your case, like if you brought your body in and said, how did I get endometriosis? They would not be able to tell you. But they are saying that these are the ways that endometriosis can be caused. Direct transplantation. Endometrial cells may attach to the walls of the abdomen or other areas of the body after a surgery, such as a C-section or hysterectomy. So if you had endometriosis and you were to have a C-section, you may actually develop a scar that can bleed and cramp like a menstrual cycle. That is not a normal or common thing, but it is absolutely something that can happen. Let's see if I believe I seen a picture once. Let's see if we can find one. Ooh. Okay, let's look at that one. Trigger warning if you need it. Lower abdominal wall showing scar endometriosis in the region of the cesarean section scar. So this tissue can bleed and cramp during the month, and this is what it looked like after they removed it, the same way that periods do inside the body. So that cramping and bleeding that you feel inside during your period, it can also happen to the tissue in a C-section scar. So if that tissue gets to, it looks like this is a lot of options, like where you can see that this is a thing. So now let's look at this one. You see that? You see the little blood capsules? Endometriosis of post-operative scar. So again, it does the same thing that the tissue does. I mean, that the tissue is set to do. It's set to bleed and shed, and that's what it's trying to do, even if it's somewhere else in the body. And you can see that nodule right there in that x-ray or whatever kind of. You can see it again right there. And then this is them pulling it out. That is wild in there. Whew. Yeah. So it is, like I said, it's very possible for that. It's not common, but it is possible for that tissue to be directly transplanted in the case of a surgery. If you have endometrial tissue somewhere else, that it will move to that new area and it will start the same party all over again. Reverse. Oh, okay. Anyway, reverse menstruation. So this is what we were talking about when the blood needs to be able to flow normally. Endometrial tissue goes into the fallopian tubes and the abdomen instead of exiting the body during the menstrual period. If the blood cannot get out, so your uterus is open, it's not open to the body, but it has the cavity in the middle where the baby is grown. But there are also two tubes that go out, your fallopian tubes that go out into your fimbriae that swoop up your eggs when your ovaries release them and bring them in and bring them into the uterus, and that's how the sperm finds them. Okay. So your blood, if it can't get out through the cervix, which is it's supposed to slough off of the uterine lining, it's supposed to slough off the uterus and go down in the little hole in the cervix and come out of the vaginal opening. If it cannot do that, it will travel back up into the fallopian tubes because they are open, and will go back into the body, into the pelvic cavity. And the tissue, that endometrial tissue, can be transported through that reverse menstruation and transformation, which is completely wild. But other cells in the body can just decide that they're going to become endometrial cells and start growing outside the endometrium. So again, if you take your body into the hospital and say, or take your body to the doctor and say, how did I get endometriosis? They're not going to tell you, but they won't be able to tell you how you got it. But these are, and genetics. Endometriosis seems to affect some families more than others, so there may be a genetic link to the condition. So they would just take this information, they would say, these are the ways that it moves and it migrates. But it really doesn't matter if the cells can just decide, well, I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to be something different and do something different with my life. And just decide to become endometrial cells and start growing in your shoulder, then that's what you have. And so it is endometriosis is wild. Like, I went on a deep dive, for this class, but just kind of like getting into hysterectomies and all that stuff. And endometriosis is wild. It is a wild condition. I dealt with it not firsthand on my body, but watching one of my best friends go through it, and it is terrible. It is terrible on the body, like terrible, terrible. So, but also she went much of her life having to advocate for herself and having to push and be heard and say, like, even when the diagnosis was there, people were still, it was still just an uphill battle to get the kind of care that she needed, and so it's just a lot. And so I just want to make some space for the mental toll that endometriosis can take on the body, because people don't readily pay attention to that part, but like, it's the mental toll is almost as great as the physical toll. Like, it just makes you like want to pull your hair out, the amount of pain that you're experiencing, and that everyone's just like, oh, it's just a period. So if you are fighting and suffering through endometriosis right now, we see you. You are your feelings are valid. Like, these are real things. You are not making this up. It's a terrible period you're bleeding exponentially. Like, you're not wrong about what's going on with your body. So what kind of treatments are we looking at? Again, there's no cure, but there are some treatments that we can take to help lessen the symptoms of the condition. Pain medicine. Your doctor may recommend an over-the-counter pain reliever or an NSAID, which is a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug, such as like ibuprofen, Motrin, things like that, Advil, or naproxen. Work for many people. So they will just tell you to take some over-the-counter medicine. Another option is surgery. Your doctor might recommend to take out as much of the affected tissue as possible. In some cases, surgery helps ease symptoms and can make you more likely to get pregnant. So if you have an extensive amount of adhesions and nodules inside, they may go in, and they will go in and try to take out as much as the adhesions, try to scrape and chisel as much of the adhesion away as they can, especially if you are trying to get pregnant, to give you a window. Now, that is going to, in most cases, that tissue grows back. It is not a surgery is not a permanent treatment. It is just a treatment that can help you if you are trying to get pregnant, to kind of loosen up and get that area ready to help you make a baby if that's what you're going for. So, but it's not a cure for it. If you have surgery, you will have to have them repeatedly until you decide to have a hysterectomy, where they move the endometrial tissue. So, and then hormones. Hormone therapy lowers the amount of estrogen in your body and can stop your period. This helps lesions bleed less, so you don't have as much inflammation, scarring, and cyst formation. So they can put you on a type of birth control that lowers the estrogen in your body and help, or any other kind of hormones. They have different hormone treatments to try to get your levels at a place where your periods can stop. And if your periods stop, then your lesions won't bleed, or they won't bleed as much, and it will cut down on the scarring and the inflammation and the adhesions inside of the uterus. So what are some things that you can do at home? Your diet. Some experts think the high amount of fat in meat, such as beef, encourages your body to produce chemicals called prostaglandins, which may lead to more estrogen production. This extra estrogen could cause some excess endometrial tissue to grow. Now, research has found foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids, such as salmon and walnuts, may be helpful in endometriosis symptoms. One study suggested that people who ate the highest amount of omega-3 fatty acids were 22% less likely to develop endometriosis than those who ate the least amount. By comparison, those who ate the most trans fats had a 48% higher risk than those who ate the least. So the type of fat you eat may matter, but more research is needed to, kind of to say that in stone. Avoid alcohol and caffeine. Drinking caffeinated coffee and sodas seem to increase your odds of developing endometriosis. So diet definitely is going to play a part in that. What you're putting into your body, how you're managing your prostaglandin production, and just there are things that can be done that you can do at home to help with those symptoms. I don't know why that needs to be on there. You stressing me. You stressing me. Okay. Manage your stress. Okay. So I know that they say this, but I also know that managing your stress is not as easy as you think it is. But stressing can make the symptoms of endometriosis worse. Okay. In fact, the condition itself might cause stress because of the severe pain and other side effects. So again, I know that managing stress when you are dealing with endometriosis symptoms is not easy. Okay, but it is important that you try to find ways to manage your stress, whether it's through yoga or meditation or by simply carving out some time for your self-care. This can help ease your symptoms and try to, just manage the extra stress that comes along with having endometriosis, but also just the stress of random life. Um, some some of the ways that you can, oh no, that's this one. Exercise regularly, okay? Working out encourages your heart to pump blood to all your organs, improving your circulation and helping nutrients and oxygens flow to all of your systems. Exercise help reduce stress, and then because it releases brain chemicals called endorphins, it can actually help relieve pain. Even if you're doing just a few minutes of physical activity that can make you breathe hard or sweat, that can help create that effect. Some studies have shown that the more time you devote to high intensity exercises such as running or biking, the less likely you are to ever get endometriosis. Now, although there is no known treatment, you do not have to suffer. Endometriosis takes years to diagnose due to the sharing of symptoms with other conditions, so make sure you are advocating for yourself and be adamant about your suspicions, okay? So what does that look like? You are going to write down your symptoms on a notepad, and you are going to keep track of those symptoms for 1 to 2 cycles, okay? Be able to take when your cycle started, when the symptoms peaked, when you felt the most of this, when you felt that, and then get a little bit of data. Is there anyone else in your family that's suffering from endometriosis? Do you have a family history of that? Did you have, look in your medical diagnosis before? Was there anything that you saw that would put you at a higher risk for that? Did you start your cycles at an early age? Did you end your cycles at a later age? All those types of things. And if you take that data into your physician and you say, hey, I've been having this stuff going on with my body. Here's what's going on. Here's what I think it is. Can you tell me with this data, what do you think it is? And that way they have to provide some kind of information to, you already have an idea. I'm coming in saying, I think it's this. If you don't think it's this, then you need to tell me what else it is so that we can start addressing some of these. Because again, you do not have to suffer through endometriosis. You should be able to live a regular life and have access to your body during your menstrual cycle. And people who suffer from the stages of endometriosis lose access to their body. They are literally bowled over in pain during their cycles trying to manage this condition. So you do not have to suffer in silence. You do not have to suffer alone. And if you need help advocating to get to your doctor, if you feel like maybe your symptoms don't fit, or it could be something else, that is absolutely fine. Please feel free to make an appointment with me. We can get together and talk to your doctor about what you could say. Let me put my stuff in the chat. What are you doing? Okay. There we go. There you go. If you need to book an appointment with me, feel free to do that. Um, and we can talk about how to talk to your doctor, what you need to do, what kind of conversation needs to be had to make sure that you are heard and that you feel heard and that you feel advocated for. So that is our endometriosis. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the chat. Any questions about symptoms, any questions about, diagnosis, any questions about how to talk to your doctor, please feel free to jump in. If you don't feel comfortable talking to or putting your business out there, feel free to email me. You can shoot me an email and we can look at it. We can take a look at it. You do not have to suffer. I know that it is very difficult to get the type of care that you need, but we are committed to making sure that you get it. So if you are trying to support someone who is experiencing endometriosis, let's talk about some things that you can do just as a support, a partner. You can try to limit the amount of things that need to be done around that time frame. Again, you're literally talking about how can I explain this? That feeling of when you need to poop and you haven't been able to poop and it's been all day and you needed to poop this morning and like now your stomach is like, okay, I've been waiting on you all day. And it's like that, but probably about times 10, right? That pain of your stomach like writhing and twisting, and it's kind of like that, but in your lower abdomen, and it just feels like someone is like dragging a boulder like through your body, and it's hard. So if you can limit the amount of things that they need to do, if your partner is usually on dish duty or grocery shopping duty, things that require standing upright for long periods of time, try to make a workaround for that. Order order it online, or just try to be a support system. Try to stand in the gap for your partner. Snacks and things are always nice. I know that this is not, I am not a medical professional, okay? Let me start with that. I am not a doctor. I do not have no degree in none of that. But here's my theory. Get some snacks, the kind of snacks that you like, and get a lot of them, okay? And fill your belly up with your favorite snacks. I mean, fill it up until you are about to pop, and let the body decide where the pain is going. Let the body decide where the pain is going to go. Am I going to be uncomfortable from being full, or are you going to be hurting because I'm on my period? You got to pick one. And listen, I get it. But that has been my tried and true. I do not have endometriosis. That the same friend that does have it got to see my insides, and she was like, "It's so smooth." So I do not have that. So that is not something that I have to personally deal with. But if it's doing the same things that your cycle does, and that skin is doing, of course, it's doing it the pain is on a much higher level. But that's how I trick my body. And when I'm on my cycle, and when it starts to get the bumping and booming, I feel that stomach up to the T-top. And be like, and let the pain sensors figure it out, y'all. Fight each other, because I'm gonna be fine. And so but again, however everybody get through, don't listen to me. I'm nuts, okay? I'm nuts. I'm willing to try all kind of stuff. So but make sure you have the proper medication around. Have heating pads. Heat pads work great, just to kind of loosen up the muscles and bring blood flow to the area. And as a support person, just making sure they have the things that they need. Make sure they have the snacks. Make sure that there's drugs. Make sure there's a comfortable place. and just being overly sensitive to the fact that, they are internally fighting a battle that, we can't really understand. We don't really have a lot of insight into it. I love those videos of the period simulators where where the people put on the little pads and they're like, "Is this what it feels like?" Like, yeah, buddy, that's that's kind of what it is. So I like those videos of, just getting an idea, because it's, how do you explain that pain? Um, it's not something that many people feel or many people know what it feels like to have menstrual cycle pain, but to have endometriosis on top of that, it's like an earthquake. The earth is trying to move, but the concrete on top of it does not have any flexion. Like those adhesions that grow inside of the body, they have no movement, no inflections. They are rigid and stiff, and they are content on holding everything in place. Like all these pieces that are supposed to be malleable and moving around, and but those adhesions don't allow that. They hold that. It's like stone. They hold that tissue in stone, and they fuse them together. Like, let's see if we can find um let's see if we can find adhesions. Ooh, okay, that's a pretty good one. Let's look at that. Trigger warning. Where did the picture go? Did I click on the right one? Oh, it has a graphic image. Okay. Yes, we want to look at it. Why we can't look at it? Uh, let's try again. I guess not. Man, let's see what else we can find. Ooh. Is it the same article? You fuckers. Gosh, look at that. Ooh. Okay. Gosh, look at that. Man. Oh, pain with deep breathing, painful bowel movements. Yeah, we talked about that. Pain with intercourse and administration. So, the pain with the intercourse is important too, cause oh, this is the one I was trying to get to. Oh, that right there is an adhesion. Is it? Man, it feel like it's like you can see it kind of tugging the little, like a, man. Ooh, my goodness. Endometrious adhesions from bladder to anterior abdominal wall and uterus. There's the bladder. There's the uterus. I wonder, is this the tissue? Oh, look at that. Oh my goodness. to the liver, and it's like stuck right there. Adhesions of diaphragm. Man. So, whew, knowing that that's like in some people's bodies and they're like trying to, my goodness. So, yeah, like just be mindful of um having a rough period is different than having endometriosis. And if you think that I just, I don't even really, if I had to keep it honest, I probably don't even have rough periods. That the first couple days be like, but then I'll be cool. I'm fine. But there are some people who are 7 days of intense bleeding, intense pressure, intense just heaviness, and they're supposed to go on. They're supposed to take kids to school and go to work and say, how can I help you today? And, and just having all of that pain in your body. And even if they, you take the pills, like taking the NSAIDs is a treatment for it, but you can't, there are certain conditions where you can't, take that. And also it's not great for your stomach to like rely on that um, as a primary, pain relief, because those insects could eat up the lining of your stomach. So, taking those, um, the ibuprofen, the Excedrins, all those different types of things can, like, they can tear you up. So it, man, it's really hard. It's a really hard diagnosis to get, but it's also a really hard condition to live with, mentally and physically. And so, I want you to feel like, I hope that you have learned a little bit more about what it is and what it does, and that you are able to advocate for yourself and find a treatment plan that works for you. If you have talked to someone about a treatment plan in the past and you didn't like the way it was, please talk to someone again, because you have there are more than one treatment option out. There are multiple treatment options out there. So a lot of times, you have to keep in mind that people are not having the conversations about this to start with. And so you may not have the language for it. You may not, know how to have this conversation or how to advocate for yourself. But um, I hope that you've learned how to do that, at least now. The To be able to say, hey, this is what's going on. Let me see what it is. What do they say now? Maybe the time frame to get a diagnosis. My sleeves keep getting caught on my things. Um, let's see how long it takes to get a endometriosis diagnosis now. So the AI answer is, it often takes several years, with an average of 6.6 years. Some individuals may wait even longer, with one study reporting a range from 1.5 to 11.3 years. A 2024 report by Endometriosis UK noted that diagnosis times were almost a year longer than pre-pandemic. Gosh. Oh, okay. Let me share this because I want us to both look at this. Um, so it says the time it takes to diagnosis. Oh, that was Variability in symptoms. Symptoms of endometriosis can vary widely and may change over time, making it difficult to pinpoint the cause of the pain and other issues. Very true. That was one of the things that I ran into, is that sometimes symptoms wane and move, and you don't realize that that was a symptom of endometriosis. You just thought, like, oh, and then it doesn't happen as heavily as it did before. Normalizing of symptoms. Period pain is often considered normal, leading to delays in seeking medical attention for more severe symptoms. Limited awareness. Many people are not aware of endometriosis, making it challenging for individuals to recognize and report potential symptoms. Difficulty diagnosing. Endometriosis is diagnosed through laparoscopy, which is a surgical procedure, and there is no simple blood test or imaging scan to diagnose it. So a laparoscopy procedure is where they cut a hole in your abdomen, and they actually cut two holes usually, and they stick cameras in there and just kind of look around. Well, they may only stick one. I don't know that. They look around, and that's the only way they're able to see if you have adhesions or endometriosis on the tissue, is by looking inside of. So it's not the same as like for uh, elevated prostate levels. You can take a test, and you can test for PSAs, and that lets you know if you have elevated prostate levels, and those types of things. But this one is not. This one, endometriosis doesn't have that. The only way you can know is if they put eyes on it. So you have to go under and have a procedure to be able to get a diagnosis for it, in which means you have to have money, and you have to have access to resources, and you have to have PTO to be able to go and get tested for it, which is one of the reasons why it could be a little late getting the diagnosis. So, you being more aware that, period pain does not have to mean that you are in debilitating pain. Those are not the same things. If you are losing a whole lot of blood, if you are running through, usually they say a tampon should last you 4 hours. If you are running through multiple tampons in that 4 hour time frame, then you need to be talking to your doctor. That's not just regular period. If you are running through pads for multiple pads on a 4 hour basis, then yes, that may be a sign of endometriosis, and something that you may need to bring to your physician to have them to start the process, especially if it's going to take that many years to start the process to figure out what's wrong. But period pain and endometriosis are two very different things. And if you are having excessive period pain, if you feel like if it's making you have wild thoughts, if it is causing you to have to call out of work or school frequently, if you are not able to think straight during your cycle, if you are bowled over in pain, those are not normal parts of your monthly cycle, and you should be discussing those symptoms with your physician. Okay? All right. All right. We're making an agreement. Okay, because you may not experience the symptoms right now, but just keep this information in the back of your mind if something changes, or if you have to become an advocate for someone else who is experiencing, harder than normal periods. And to do that, you have to know what your normal is. And some people have never experienced a normal cycle. It has always been complete chaos in the womb when it has come to their menstrual cycle. So, keep it in mind in case your body changes, in case the people around you start experiencing debilitating symptoms, that you will have an idea of what to do, and the different kind of treatments that you can ask for, and that you can start to home remedies you can start to participate in to kind of help ease those symptoms as well. Okay? All right. Okay. Let's take the last of our minutes to talk about our weekly schedule. So we are finally, also, I just closed it down because not doing my job very well. We are now streaming live on YouTube and on Twitch, so you can follow me on either one. If you already have a YouTube, just you can follow me to get the updates on when I will be going live to make sure you have the schedule. Excuse me. Tomorrow is going to be Pleasure Tools Tuesday. Now I'm going to get the hiccups. Watch. Where we're going to be talking about restraints. If you have any curiosity about cuffs or rope or any kind of restraints for your sexual encounters, please stop by. We'll be talking about safety tips, all different types of things to make sure. And we'll also have some different types of restraints available to choose from to just kind of see how they work and, have some different options to talk about when we talk about restraints. Wednesday is going to be Ask Coach Catasha, as it is every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Oh, tomorrow we'll be meeting back here at 12:30 p.m. So Central Standard Time. So make sure you set your clocks, put it on your calendars, and follow me to receive the update to know when I'm going to be going live. On Wednesday we'll do Ask Coach Catasha. You can join us live and drop your questions in the chat if you have questions live. If you don't want people in your business and you would like to ask your questions anonymously, you can send them to our box who ask Coach Catasha at expressionoverrepression.com, or you can just send them to expressionoverrepression@gmail.com, and I will gather them and bring them back on Wednesday for us to answer, and we will answer them live. Even if you send them to my inbox, we will still address and answer the questions live. So that's pretty fun. Definitely trigger warning for that class, because sometimes, people ask questions. People don't always have the language that they need to ask the questions that they ask. And so, and it's live. So, just be prepared to have some grace for people in the comments if you are spicy like me. Because sometimes, people will say stuff, you might, now wait a damn minute. But, that's not what they meant. And so we're going to assume the best and move in that type of energy. On Sex Tech Thursday, we're going to be talking about virtual and augmented reality and the future of sex. That's going to be interesting because I want to do this so bad. I want to have virtual reality sex. I want to see what that's like. So I think that's going to be so cool to do. And again, we're talking about accessibility issues. That's going to be great for people who have accessibility issues, because again, those kind of, a lot of the things that sex gives the body a lot of benefits, and those benefits happen chemically in the body, and the body doesn't actually need to experience penetration to experience those benefits. And so virtual reality, augmented reality, we have so much to discuss. So we'll be doing that on Thursday at 12:30 p.m. And then on Friday at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, we will be doing Late Night with Coach Catasha. So last Late Night with Coach Catasha, we did our This or That, where we did we did a vote on some of our favorite stars. You had to choose which one you like. I'm going to be throwing those into my rotation, so you'll see those in the next coming weeks on our social media pages. And feel free to still vote in the chat. You can put your goat or your king, depending on who you choose and why. You can feel free to leave why if you want to. But so I don't know what we'll be doing this Friday, but we'll definitely be doing something fun. I'm going to try to have a schedule weekly, just so you will know what's coming up and you can make plans to show up for the shows that you want to see for sure. And if you have any questions about them, making sure we're staying open and that you have the opportunities. Some things that you're going to need to attend this class, okay? You can follow us on Twitch and YouTube. I actually got the notification that I'll be able to stream on TikTok as well. So We're gonna try that tomorrow. See how it works. Streaming on TikTok tomorrow. So make sure you following us on all of your different social media platforms or your streaming platforms. And then make sure you turn on your notifications so that I promise not to be, just going willy nilly. You will see me on the schedule and maybe an additional day on the week, depending on if I meet my streaming needs or not. But I will not be just bothering you. Katasha's going live. Katasha's going live. And if I was, you gonna sit there and you gonna watch because I'm doing fun stuff. So, but turn on your notifications just so you can see when I do go live. Grab your headphones, okay? Because like when these come on during work hours, and you can't get fired, okay? Because you can't come live here if them people put you out their building, okay? So make sure that you are got your headphones on, that you are in a safe environment, that you can listen to the material without being judged, and that you can participate if possible, especially if you have questions and things of that nature. I want to make sure that your needs are getting met, and that if you have questions to answer that you need answered, that you feel comfortable doing that. This is a non-judgmental space. Whatever you are into, I am also excited for you and encourage you to do more of it as long as you are doing it safely and with consenting adults. I'm going to ask you to do it 2 times, okay? So my goal is to have you to enjoy yourself and to do the things that you like to do safely and to the enjoyment of everyone that is present. So feel free to stop by on any of those classes. Anything that you have any questions about, you're free to drop them in the chat. Interrupt me if you want anywhere. The chat's not moving too fast for me not to be able to see it. So I want to do that. I'm also going to try to figure out, I wonder if this has captions. It should. I'm going to see if I can get the captions turned on. Let me see if I do it here. Hold on. It says you're still open, so where are you? Oh, let me try this. Oh, girl's right in my face. If it was a snake, it would have bit me. Okay, let's go. Let's go back here. Let's see. Let's try something right quick. And let's take you back to the scene that I need you to be on. There. And then what if I turn my captions on here? Do they show? Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Yes, they do. Okay, we could use that as a makeshift caption option until I figure out how to do the captions on here. That's good to know. I will I will remember to turn those on so that if you struggle, and I know I'm country as hell, so sometimes you can't understand what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna hold you. I know. So I hope that helps. I hope that there is a caption option here. I do pay for whatever this is, so I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that I should be able to do that I haven't quite found all yet. So I'll do some more research, get the digging in here. Again, if you are in the Texas, Oklahoma, let's see. Whoop, see that? We already got to watch somewhere. Man, where is it at? Oh, well, we got to watch already. I mean, yeah, it ain't a warning, so we got a little bit of. Yeah, it's Kansas. I'm trying to find out where it's all at. Okay. So yeah, it is up there. They just cut it off. Um, in the other states, but because that's up Stillwater. That's up to the line. That's the line right there. And so I'm sure that goes into Kansas as well, into Wichita. Um, and then go back. How far in the Ardmore? Okay, that's probably Thackerville. Yeah, that's so probably down to the border. So, yep, Gainesville. So if that's doing that right there, then is this the only area right now that has a tornado watch? Or is this whole area is in a tornado watch? Oh, yeah, because Muskogee and Tulsa is not right now. So yeah, if you are in these areas and Texas, North Texas, Oklahoma, Wichita, just be mindful, be weather aware today to make sure that you are protected, you and your family are protected. Um, yeah. Oh, it goes all the way up. So, yeesh. Okay. Um, yeah. So just hey, y'all, just be careful. Okay. We gotta make sure we survive. I'm finna go out here and put some of my plants up. You can't be out here tearing my stuff up. It said we got two possible waves. So of hold on, let me just turn him on.
What is your tornado action plan? Now, it's not clear cut because there's still a chance that we may have wave one that kind of munches up some of the fuel. That's what we want. All right. So from 10 to 2 for OKC, we may see some storms go up just to our east. I think the worst window is 2 to 6 p.m. What's bad about that? You got kids getting out of school, buses, Colorado line. I get it. I'm there every day. And then the PM commute. All right. After 6 p.m., I feel like the worst of the storms will be moving away from us.
Okay.
All right.
After 6 p.m., the worst of the storms are moving away, but from 2 to 6,
Okay.
we are very high risk.
Now, strong
So,
wind
tornado
is
index,
possible.
we all
Focus
red. So,
Highway 81 is. All right. Now, I don't think we're going to have. I think we potentially could have 3 or 4 storms, but they're long track storms, so they're just dropping like we saw near Arnett
yeah,
yesterday.
okay. So,
Arnett,
y'all, we at the end.
Waves got bigger.
Make sure. Oh, hey, you can't be talking while I'm talking. No, not too much. Can't be confusing me there. Um, make sure you're taking care of yourselves. Make sure you are weather aware today. Lock yourselves in. Keep your eyes open, and I will see you tomorrow at 12:30 for Pleasure Tools Tuesday, where we will be talking restraints. Play nice. Peace.